All right, so you're probably familiar with this term, but if you give a mouse a cookie, right? You heard that? Yeah. That's kind of what's happening here. And it's happening here in a few different ways, and I have a feeling it might be happening in your home as well.
Next it'll go in the bathroom, and then I've got sliders up here for the cupboards.
Do you ever get the feeling that everything is just not right? Something is going on and you can't figure it out, but you know it's not working. I have absolutely been feeling that way. And I think sometimes that really starts to pile up the moment you notice this isn't working, then you start to notice that isn't working, and then you start to notice that this is frustrating, and whatever the case may be. That was kind of my moment. We have a basket that I keep underneath the kitchen sink, and usually that's no big deal, and it's just a basket, right? That was the last solution to help keep things together, but now it's come to just be this overflowing basket of muck. And every time I go down to grab the soap or something out of there, I realize how frustrating that is. But then I go to open another cupboard and I realize that that's frustrating as well. And then I look and realize that there's clutter on the counter, and that's super frustrating. And sometimes those frustrations just really start to take over. Even though I don't want them to, even though that's not my intention, sometimes that happens. Has that ever happened to you? And so while I have been a tad on the frustrated side of all of this happening, I decided to finally do something about it. And I think that that can be such a big moment for us. When we're stuck in the frustration, we're feeling it. It feels like it's adding up when that's not our intention. And we have to be able to pull ourselves out of that and say, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's do something about fixing this versus just remaining stuck in the frustration. It's such a small and seemingly insignificant change, but sometimes it can be really, really difficult to actually cross over from stuck to improving.
I was trying to clean under the sink, but then I went to get a sparkling water and realized that the drawer was off its track and not working. And then I realized that somebody had spilled a drink in here and it was disgusting. So now I'm cleaning the drawer, cleaning the stuff in the drawer, to clean the drawer, to clean the bottom of the fridge, to put the fridge back together, to finish cleaning under the kitchen sink. That's what I'm doing. Way that you saw was I had started the project, and we're going to talk about it, of clearing out underneath my kitchen sink to put a nice little simple organizer down there and to set up a hot spot that has been just driving me absolutely bananas. We're going to get that tackled. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to do it. Well, I go to do that, and it's going well, and then I go, oh, I'm really thirsty. We got storms popping up. It's really hot. I go, I need a sparkling water. Let me just grab one out of the fridge. Well, I go to slide out the drawer in our fridge to realize that it is off track. Something is not working here. It is all sorts of wonky. What on earth? Well, then I go to fix said drawer and I realize that there is stuff spilt in here. This is disgusting. Who spilt like a whole cup of Lord knows what and didn't clean it up? Like, kids, come on, that's disgusting. Who didn't take care of this? So now I have to pull the drawer out, empty the drawer, wash everything that was in the drawer. And then while I've got that pulled out, I might as well clean the shelf underneath it because, I already pulled that out. You give a mouse a cookie, right? I already pulled that out. Now I got to clean under there. I get it all clean, I put it together, I wipe down the door, I wipe down the other shelves because you can't just wipe down one shelf and not wipe down the other shelves. Obviously, this keeps going and going and going. I get all of that done, and now I can actually get back to the original task, which was to clean out underneath the kitchen sink and put together my little organizer, put back the things that I need, and it's going to look beautiful and lovely and like a Pinterest and Instagram photo, and my life will be complete, right? Well, now it is dark, it is storming like crazy. I'm hoping the power doesn't go out, and I have torn apart everything. The power of accumulation, my friends. Let's just have a nice little conversation about that while I continue to work on putting my pieces together here, because I think so often what happens is this can work for the positive, but it also works for the negative, right? I found one thing that was wrong, that was a sore spot for our home that needed to be addressed. But then I found this one and that one and this one and that one. And then it was oh my goodness, now everything is falling apart, right? But I think so often that's what happens. We find things in life that just aren't working right. I do not feel like I have had that feeling of my home truly being in order since Helene came through last year, now 9 months ago. I don't feel like I've ever actually gotten that my home is in order, things are running properly. I haven't felt that since then. It is making me crazy. I have currently 12 people using my home. We have a family of total of 12 here on the homestead, and the main living spaces of the house are used by a dozen people every single day. That's a lot of wear and tear. That's a lot of different hands. That's a lot of moving pieces. And when I don't feel like I've even set it up appropriately in the first place, then you add all of that into it and it's chaos. And so I think that it's so important as women to remember that oftentimes that power of accumulation becomes so heavy negatively that we don't even know where to begin. And I will raise my hand and say it has been so much easier to just walk in like this, grab what I need, not look at it, and then walk away and be like, nope, it doesn't exist. I'm not dealing with it. I will get overwhelmed and say that's it. And I'll just take the whole thing and throw it away and be like, done deal. I'll just buy everything over again. I don't even care. Get it out of here. Sometimes that happens. Okay. I'm just gonna be honest. Sometimes it does. But just as heavy as that burden of the accumulation and the negative things in your life, for as heavy as that is, and as comfortable as you might be in that whole if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. I'll just doom scroll on my phone more. I'll just shop more. I'll just find more little shiny things to make me feel better for a moment. Let's talk about the power of accumulation in a positive way.
So yes, stuff can add up. We can start to see in all the ways where we've dropped the ball. And sometimes I think we start to really just harbor some guilt and some frustration at ourselves. Why did I let it get this bad? Why did I not take care of this sooner? Why, right? It's so easy to fall into that. And I've been totally guilty of that here lately as well. You put on those blinders, and sometimes it's just a situational blinder where you don't even realize anymore just how out of control it's gotten. And so for me, I was sitting here thinking about this the other day and said, you know what? Enough is enough. There's so much that needs to be dealt with. It feels overwhelming. I don't even know where to begin. I don't have the funds to fix everything that absolutely needs to be fixed. I wish I could just, wave some sort of magic wand and everything would be wonderful and beautiful and tidy and perfect. But that's not how life works. And I think that when things do just, work without any effort on our part, we take them for granted. And so what better way than to start to get this power of accumulation in a positive light with my own effort, my own hard work, my own diligence.
And so it started with underneath the kitchen sink here, which, yes, I kind of, let derail me when I found out that the fridge was falling apart and I had to deal with that. But I didn't let it stop me. Sure, it took up some time. It meant I was, kind of pulled into a different direction, but I made sure to come back and keep at it. And so being able to go here and take one space, my whole kitchen needs to be addressed, okay? I'm working on it, but I needed to start somewhere. And for me, that somewhere ended up being underneath the kitchen sink. The first place that I go to where all of the frustration kind of kicked off at, I was going to let be the space to drive the forward momentum. And so I pulled everything out. I wiped it down. I sorted through the items one by one and realized that honestly, most of it was garbage. Most of it was either a little bit left in a bottle that I could go and refill and just kind of get rid of the excess. Stuff was old, stuff was outdated, stuff had gotten stuff spilt on it and had ruined. And so being able to go through and find what was even still good, what are we actually using? Of all the bottles that were down there, I then rinsed them all off. I wiped them all down. I made sure that they were nice and clean. I did go ahead and invest in some affordable but practical kitchen organizers. Having something like this where, yes, it looks nice, but it also holds it all together. It serves a great purpose. It has the drawer function so I can pull things out, easily get to the things I need. For the 12 of us that are here in the house, it's a little bit simpler for everybody to get to and everyone to see what goes where. Being able to take the time and put this together. Being able to take that, if you give a mouse a cookie, instead of from a negative way of noticing all the things that are wrong, turning that into a positive way of going, okay, let me fix under here. I can pull everything out. I can sort through it. I can figure out what we need. I can clean it up, right? A deep clean solves a lot of problems. And then I can put it back in a way that is better than the state in which I found it. And once I finish this space, I can move on to another space. I can go to another space here in the kitchen that has been a source of overwhelm and frustration, and instead start doing one small positive thing. Finding these slider drawers that, yes, they mean that you can't cram as much stuff into the cupboard, but that actually solves a lot of my problems. If we're not cramming so much in there, stuff isn't just getting shoved into the back of the cupboard, because trust me, I'm finding all kinds of stuff in these cupboards that I didn't even realize were in there because they've gotten pushed to the back. You can't even see them. I didn't even realize we had those items. I can relocate those to a better, more efficient area. I can set up the space in something that, yes, looks more visually appealing. It makes me feel a little bit better when I open up the cupboard. But I also feel better because I can find what I'm looking for. I can see everything. It's tidy. There's a place for everything and everything can be in its place. I can start to work on these little things to the positive, and cupboard by cupboard, I'm going to start to make progress. I'm going to start to see how much better everything feels when it's working in a way that makes more sense, that serves our home better. When I am putting in that effort to do it, you feel great about it. And then I feel a little more encouraged to make sure that I'm explaining to my family how I'm organizing things, where they can find the items, and how we can keep them nice and tidy. It's easy for me now to just open the cupboard when I'm in the kitchen, see how things are, tidy a little bit if needed. But a few minutes spent each day, even if it's 15 minutes, that you're going to take a space that's bothering you, you're going to clear everything out of it, wipe it all down, and put it back together in a way that serves you better in this current season. A little bit done consistently, done diligently, really is going to add up and have a huge impact. So friends, I truly do hope that that can be a piece of encouragement to you here today. As I'm putting together this one little itsy bitsy space, and now part of my fridge is clean. I did kind of peek at the freezer drawer and was like, nope, stop myself. Do not do it. We're not focusing there right now. Putting this together, having those little bits of accumulation in the positive, it really is a life-changing thing. And again, if you give a mouse a cookie, I fixed one spot, and I'm ready to fix another spot. Then I'm going to clear up the counter, right? Like, it starts accumulating in the positive as well. That momentum that you start building really does trickle down into other areas. And if you guys are curious to see how I need to literally go through my entire house from top to bottom. Everything needs to be overhauled. I'm telling you, since Hurricane Helene, things have not been like truly in order. We've had so much change in our family, so much stuff going on. I mean, it's just, we've got our reasons, I understand, but it's still there. And I finally said, you know what? I'm sitting here and I'm letting all the negatives accumulate. I don't want to do that. I can't just fix everything right now like I wish I could. I can't just have everything be the way I want it to be. But I can have teeny tiny little habits, teeny tiny bits of momentum that I can build. And guess what? If I can spend 15 minutes on this a day, a week, a month, well, in another day, week, or month, I'm going to be that much closer. So why not get started? Why not allow the positive to start accumulating and building up? So I might have been, if you give a mouse a cookie, on the bad end of the spectrum, but I'm ready to start changing that and to start letting this little increase here, add to this here, add to this momentum, right? And let that build as the Lord works inside and I am working and letting that flow to the outside all around me. And so if this has been a blessing to you, praise God. Let me know, like this video, share it with a friend. Come and join us for Biblical Womanhood. We're so enjoying our time over there in that study. And if you would like to see more of just me showing you the reality of what my very real house looks like as I try to go through this process and find ways to make it work that are practical and maybe not Instagram and Pinterest worthy, but hey, I'm feeling better over here and that's what matters. If you want to see more of that, let me know if that would be something of interest to you. Otherwise, let me leave you with a little more up here that I think you will appreciate. I'm going to finish up work in here and I will see you right over there. Bye, friends.